Congressman Ron Paul joining the conversation. Congressman, is there anything that anybody outside of the borders of that country can or should do?
Well, we should have done a lot less, a lot sooner, because we're in the middle of this. I mean, he's been our puppet dictator. We've given him $70 billion. A bunch of it is in a private bank already. But we build his army. We sell him the weapons. We give him the weapons because we give him the money. So we're in the middle of it. And, of course, now our government doesn't know who to support and who not to support, so they're trying to line up with the next dictator. So it just points out so tragically why intervention in the internal affairs of other nations eventually backfires on us. And we're just now angling to have control afterwards. And I would say we'd be better off letting the Egyptians settle this problem.
Are you making a call, Congressman, for an overhaul of American foreign policy based on what you just said?
Absolutely, and I've been doing it for a good many years. I believe in the constitutional foreign policy of the founders that advocated non-intervention, which means that we start bringing our troops home as soon as possible, and we bring our money home, too. It's going to happen if we have a bankruptcy. The Soviet system collapsed, not for military reasons, but for financial reasons. So this is indication that we wasted our $70 billion. Even the so-called stability that it bought for a while, it leads to these kind of very, very dangerous situations. And I do believe that tomorrow is going to be, if not sooner, a very wild and violent day in Egypt.
Fawaz, your thoughts on the American congressman's observations?
Well, the reality is that at the end of the day, I hope that we learn the lessons from the Tunisian and Egyptian case. I'm saying we Americans, the American foreign policy community. At the end of the day, the Middle East has been a dismal failure, a disaster for American foreign policy. But also at the end of the day, Egyptians are determining their future, as you'll see. The United States has very limited options at this particular moment. I would like President Barack Obama to make it very clear that the United States basically takes sides on the side of the rising social forces, human rights, the rule of law, those people who are really trying to own their history and basically determine their own affairs. But I think in the next few days, the United States must think very clearly about what its response will be if and when the army intervenes to suppress the protesters. What tomorrow might be a bloodbath if the protesters try to march to the presidential palace. The next few days are going to be extremely dangerous, and I hope the United States has a clear position, a clear stand, when and if the plunge takes place in Egypt.
Ron Paul, Ronald Reagan famous both in 1982 with Poland and 1989 with the Berlin Wall for doing precisely what Fawaz just described, getting behind the pro-democracy forces, demanding the tearing down of the wall. Do you believe the United States should get behind that crowd?
I don't think it's the same analogy. This is a lot of money and a lot of weapons, and we're just trying to buy influence. It's the same old policy of staying there and trying to pick sides. There's nobody capable of knowing who's the one person that we can stand behind. And unless he gets our money, you know, that military, of course, is very powerful now, but the military depends on us. So we're in the middle of this. To just say that we have to get behind another group, it sounds good, but we can diplomatically, once it's settled down, for us to go in there and settle this fight, I think is wrong and very, very dangerous. It will make things that much worse.